Sudan's top military general is travelling to Qatar for talks with Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. Abdel Fattah Al Burhan has left Port Sudan for the one-day visit to discuss bilateral relations and aid for Sudan. Burhan has already visited neighbouring South Sudan and Egypt and is expected to travel to Saudi Arabia in the coming days. Meanwhile, earlier, Sudan's army chief issued a decree dissolving the Rapid Support Forces. That's the paramilitary group headed by Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo and has been locked in a battle for control for nearly 5 months. Burhan says the move is a consequence of the RSF's rebellion against the state. Well, we'll get more on that from Hiba Morgan in a moment. She's in the Sudanese capital, Khartoum. First, let's go live to Hashem Ahelbarra here in Doha. Hashem, so what exactly are we expecting from this visit to Qatar from Burhan?
Mali, this is quite a significant stop for Burhan in Qatar for different reasons. Now, he will be meeting with the Emir, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, and then we're expecting him later in the day to make a statement before flying back to Port Sudan. Just 2 weeks ago, a group of the Freedom Forces for Change, the civilian component of the Sudanese society, was here in Doha and they met with Qatari officials. Although the Qatari officials have been saying that basically they didn't have any official request from the Sudanese government for mediation, but they say that they are open to step in and provide any kind of assistance for Sudan. This is quite significant also for Al Burhan because this is a moment where he's trying to portray himself as a legitimate de facto leader of Sudan at the same time when we are seeing Hemeti facing more restrictions, particularly the latest sanctions by the United States of America targeting his brother who is his deputy at the Rapid Support Forces, and also the decision by Burhan to ban the RSF. So this is going to be a moment for him to ask Qatar for more political and financial support as the conflict gets into an extremely delicate stage.
Hashem, Burhan is expected to go to Saudi Arabia next. What can Gulf countries do at this moment to end the conflict?
So since the start of the conflict in April, no one managed to somehow secure a massive advantage on the ground. For Burhan, this could be the moment to go to the Gulf countries, which have huge political leverage in Sudan, for two messages. First, the need to help him navigate through this complex political landscape and give him more support. And when he's asking for support, he wants also strong messages from the Gulf countries saying that they're not going to be siding with Mohammed Hamdan Hemeti, his rival and the leader of the Rapid Support Forces. He will be also asking for more financial support. But as we know, Marlene, Gulf countries are not on the same page when it comes to how to move forward when it comes to Sudan, and also who should be having a bigger say. They will have, first of all, to invite all the political parties to negotiate a political settlement. And the opposition, particularly the Forces for Change, are saying that there needs to be a reform of the security forces. The army has to step aside and pave the way for a civilian government to take over. For the time being, the biggest concern for Al Burhan, who is the chairman of the Sovereign Council, is his political survival and the defeat of Hemeti. Unless he gets to that point, it's going to be extremely difficult to negotiate any way out of this crisis in Sudan.
OK. For now, Hashem Ahelbarra there for us in Doha. You will be monitoring that visit of General Burhan into Qatar today. Let's turn to Hiba Morgan, who is live for us in Khartoum. Hiba, do we know why General Burhan has made this move to dissolve the Rapid Support Forces now, given the army has been fighting the RSF since April?
Well, this was a decision that was expected from the army chief and the head of the Sovereignty Council, General Abdel Fattah Al Burhan, since the conflict started in mid-April, and it came nearly 5 months later. Now, part of the reason why it came at this time and not at the beginning of the conflict could be because of how regional countries and the international community has been dealing with the rapid support forces. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs just days ago issued a statement to the African Union committee saying that they should not be receiving members of the paramilitary rapid support forces because they're a rebel force against the government. So the fact that regional countries and the international community was still dealing with the paramilitary rapid support forces as a legal entity established here in Sudan based on a law could be one of the reasons why the head of the Sovereignty Council decided to disband and dissolve officially the paramilitary rapid support forces and nullify the 2017 law that gave it legitimacy and made it under the control of the commander-in-chief of the army. So that basically means, with that decision, that basically means that the paramilitary rapid support forces is no longer part of the organized forces here in Sudan, but rather it's now a militia that the army is fighting.
Okay, and where are we in terms of the latest fighting in the country? I mean, does it appear that any one side has the upper hand?
Well, we've seen over the past couple of weeks the paramilitary rapid support forces launching several attacks against one of the largest army bases in the capital, Khartoum, in the southern part of the capital, Khartoum, trying to take over. Including on Wednesday, they launched another attack trying to take over that military base belonging to the Sudanese army, and were not able to do so. But we've also seen more artillery shellings by both sides against the opposite positions. So the RSF has been launching more artillery strikes against positions of the Sudanese army. The army has been launching more artillery strikes and airstrikes against the positions of the paramilitary rapid support forces. And we've also seen an increase in the number of civilian casualties. Just over the past 3 days alone, more than 50 civilians have lost their lives as a result of being caught in the crossfire between the warring sides. But nearly 5 months on, no side, whether it's the RSF or the Sudanese army, has a very decisive upper hand over the other for them to claim that they are actually winning the battle in Khartoum and in Sudan.
Thank you for that update. Hiba Morgan there for us in Khartoum.